Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Artists in the Spotlight. Today we are here with a bit of a Renaissance man. He makes art in a multitude of ways. Not only is he a musician, but he is an actor, a filmmaker, a graphic artist, and a model. I mean, you talk about a guy with a multitude of talents here. Sit back and enjoy this interview as we learn more about what drives and motivates this multi-talented man, Tony Noyes.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for allowing us to come into your home and do this. And it's a beautiful home, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I read that when you grew up, you had a musical family. Tell us what it was like growing up in a musical family. What was your first instrument, and when did you start performing on stage?
Well, my whole family has got some kind of musical talent. My grandfather, actually, on my mom's side, was in a barbershop quartet, and he could sing actually all of, it didn't matter which, the baritone or the whatever. He could just, whatever part that he took, he could sing all of them. He had a really high voice, and he could sing really low if he wanted to. Very talented, and they were actually had managers and looking to actually go on like traveling and touring and stuff like that. But he had their family, there was 7 kids, and he had to make sure that he made money. So he kind of had this job that was pretty secure, so he passed on that. However, he played piano. They made their own records because they were recording records at the time. Mm-hmm. Or they'd do it at their house and burn their own records. I don't even know how they did it on the machine. It's kind of cool,
Yeah,
but that was
cool.
Back in the day when my mom was young. So all of them would sing around the piano and record their stuff. So my mom had some talent as well. My dad always kind of sang just for fun. So I think I got a little of both mixed in. And we were entered into a gong show for the school that I was going to. I must have been in like 2nd grade or something, or 3rd grade. I don't even remember. But it was like a gong show. So we got in there with my brother and I, and we sang The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow, the Annie song. The sun will come out. There were these 2 little kids. And that was the first time that I had ever gotten in front of everybody and sang, and it wasn't pretty. My dad recorded it on his tape recorder, with the little mic. He was trying to get it, but it was the first time just getting in front of people. And then I was in another play. It was a church play at the time that my mom knew some people down the road. They went to a Mormon church, and so I tried out for a role and got a main role. That was the first time memorizing lines, and I think I was 8 or 9 at the same time. So that's where I got started. And then I took a few piano lessons my mom had gotten me. And that Mormon family actually had a piano in their house. And we'd go over there and hang with them and started tinkering on there. I learned Star Wars was my first song. It was not Smoke on the Water. It was Star Wars. That was the movie out at the time, and I'm dating myself. But so I learned how to play that just by ear. And my mom goes, well, we got to get you some lessons. So I took a couple of lessons and wasn't really interested in it. My mother and father bought a piano, had it in the house, so we all just kind of played on it. So that's how I got started in the whole music thing. It wasn't really it was just jumping in and just toying around with it. And later on, I got interested, I just always kind of sang for fun, and I got my first guitar when I was 10 or 11, something like that, and it's just a garage sale guitar. And picked it up and just started playing. I was on that thing religiously every day after school. And I had this little amp. They're like little Gorilla amps now, but it was like made of plastic, and it was just this cheap little amp that I just happened to get off a friend. Plug it right in. I had a distortion pedal, and I was just rock and roll to. I think at that time, I was a little bit older. I started really getting good when I was 12, 13. I think Iron Maiden was just hitting. And in the 80s and those 80s, all those 80s bands. So I started learning riffs from those bands.
So you're pretty much self-taught.
Yeah, from the beginning. It was I just jumped on it and I never learned the full song. I would just go, oh, the trooper, din, 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 you know, and learn that part and go, okay, cool. And then I'd learn the next one, you know. But yeah, so a lot of it by ear. When it came to like trying to read music, I was like, what in the ass am I looking at? You know, so that's the piano lessons were like that. I'm taking piano lessons and they're going, look at these little notes, and they're putting them on this grid. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. You know, this is easier for me to figure it out. So yeah, just kind of self-taught, and that's how I got started in the whole thing.
I think it's interesting from the different musicians we've talked to doing Artists in the Spotlight. You'd be surprised. Most of them are self-taught, by ear, you know.
Yeah.
Especially the guitarists, you know.
I think a lot of us pick it up and just start playing. That's how you learn. And, I got to correct myself. I did have an acoustic guitar that my mom bought me when we were in Mexico. We went down there just to go buy some shit or whatever. And I wanted a switchblade. And she was like, I really don't want you to have a switchblade. How about this guitar instead? So I go, okay. So I bought it. It was
pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's all right. It was just a cheap guitar, but that's where I learned, you know, some Jimi Hendrix songs on that and stuff where I started out. But that was it. I mean, it was just picking it up and just starting to play. And then as you go, and I think as you want to get more serious, which even to this day, I'm studying scales and chords and, you know, different things, actually learning, you know, some of the structures and things that are different. Because you can only learn so much. I mean, I could only learn so much on my own before, you know, all of a sudden it was Guitar Magazine at the time. Yeah. So you'd have to wait a whole month before you could get a new scale. You know, here's Randy Rhoads, how to play his riff, and then you'd have to wait for the next magazine before you could get the tabs on it. So now you got YouTube, you can learn whatever the hell you want. You just click that shit on and boom, you know, you can learn whatever. So I've been learning a lot more. You know, it's a never-ending process, I think.
Yeah. I think we're always learning, always growing.
Yeah, you're never going to know everything about, which is strange because you have, 6 strings on a guitar and only 12 notes, 12 frets, but there's so much you can do with that.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
It's incredible.
So you mentioned Jimi Hendrix, and I read that was your first album that you bought. Do you remember what album it was?
Oh, God. I don't remember the name of it. Jimi Hendrix Experience, something like that. I'm thinking that, I know that's his... I can't say exactly. I know Hey Joe was on there, and there was a lot of really cool. It was just something that it was like, it was at a garage sale, and I was like, "Can I buy this, Mom? Can you get me this?" And she bought it, and when I put it on, I go, "Wow, this is cool." So I started learning some of that shit on the guitar, on the acoustic guitar at the time that I had, and so that introduced me into rock and roll a little bit. At the time, there was Sugar Hill Gang was out, and a brick house. She's a brick house. So that was on, that was rocking the radios, the radio waves. And so, I didn't really know. I was like, that's kind of cool. And this is cool. I listened to everything. And then I went to a Van Halen concert with a buddy of mine. And he goes, you got to come see this band. And he played me Running with the Devil. And I said, that's one of the coolest songs I've ever heard, That was a step up from the Jimmy record. And then I was sold once I saw that show. I went to go see that, and it was 80. I think it was 1980, 1981, or something like that. It might have even been 79. I don't know.
Wow.
I think it was 80. I think it was their tour in 1980. But I saw David Lee Roth swinging from the rafters, or there's a ladder, one of the ladders hanging down. He's swinging back and forth, and he lit up a joint on stage and started smoking it. And I go, what the fuck? This is so cool, man. What's happening? And then, of course, Eddie, you watch him shred, and I'm like, my mind was blown. So I bought a concert shirt, wore that every day for a couple of weeks, and then I was sold on rock. I go, that's what I want to do, man. I want to do that. I could see the crowd reaction, so crazy, And they got so nuts. It was like Beatlemania type thing when David Lee Roth would go down the ego ramp, we call it, the little ramp. It's lined with people, mostly women, and they're grabbing at his clothes, ripping his boots and parts of his clothing off, and they're screaming when they get a piece of it. I go, that's cool. I want to do that. So I was sold.
So someone we interviewed, that guitarists have one main reason they want to learn why to play guitar, or the reason they want to play guitar. What's your reason?
I don't have one. I know you say it's to meet the women, right? Get laid. To get laid. Oh, and that wasn't mine. I just learned how to play because I like music. I like art and all that.
That's cool.
So, but I'll be honest. I mean, watching David Lee Roth and the reaction, I went, "That's kind of a cool benefit." You know, what I mean, it wouldn't be the one reason, but that's one of the reasons. You know.
When did you join your first band?
I believe that I was 19 years old. I had an apartment. I got my first apartment when I was 18, and I moved out of that, and I moved down on Deer Valley, and probably near the freeway. Had a job right there. I was riding a bicycle. Drove down to where I worked at night one time, and there's a band playing in the suite next door, which they made candles and all that stuff. And at the time, I was playing every day. I was just dreaming of being in a band. You know, I wanted to rock with some more people. I'm in my apartment just jamming by myself. And these guys were playing, and it was a one-guitar band, and I went, guys, you need a second guitar, you know, you want to put me in or whatever. So I probably bugged them for about 2 months. The name of the band was Wicked Season. And they would practice here in this thing at night in this business suite or whatever, and then they would play down in Sunny Slope. There was a little area between two apartment complexes, and they would set the drums in the back. There was a keg on each side of the drums. And this place was just packed with people, you know, just packing their outside. And so I went there and got all fucked up with them. And, you know, we got drunk behind there. And so I begged them pretty much to get into the band. And finally I did. I learned all their songs. And they said, all right, come on in. So that was the start of the whole thing, of getting into a band situation and learning how to do that, how to interact and write songs together. I had kind of a different groove of what they were doing. And that was my first time actually singing because I was already singing as well. However, we had a singer, but I said, hey, I wrote this song, and it was one that I brought in. I said, can I sing the beginning? And then you sing, would you mind? And he said, no, go ahead, that's cool. So I sang the beginning of this thing, of the song as I would play. And that kind of started. I got a lot of good feedback. A lot of people went, man, you should be singing and more. And then that brought a little tension between the singer and I, you know, because all of a sudden it was, you know, I'm the singer, hold on, you know how that goes. I don't want to sit here with my thumb in my ass, is what he said. I remember that. I don't want to sit on stage with my thumb in my ass the whole time. And I went, okay. So anyway, that was the first experience, which was really great because we started playing the Mason Jar. That was my first show there, or many shows that we did, and I was still underage at the time. So I remember one time, I remember the beginning of it, but I got in there. We were doing Kamikazes were in. And we were doing kamikaze shots, and I don't remember getting on the stage. I remember getting there and setting up, and we were just waiting to play. Next thing I know, I wake up on my couch, and I'm like, did we play last night? Holy shit. And then I saw, like, somebody took some pictures and all that. I go, yeah, and I looked red faced, and, yeah, you know, up on stage being a ham. But I guess it went over well. Yeah, so I had a lot of cool experiences with that band, you know, and that ended up breaking up. Like many bands, you know.
So being your first experience up on stage, you know, maybe you can talk about the first time you sang up on stage, being with a band and being in the atmosphere, what was that experience like for you?
It was scary the first time. It was, I remember specifically the band before us saying, all right, we got 2 more songs, and then we're going to have Wicked Season come up, and I was like, oh shit, and I start feeling, you know, getting butterflies. So I go into the bathroom. I'm kind of like trying to breathe, like, all right, I got 2 more songs. And I already played a few shows, you know, on the grassy knoll is what we used to call it, where the grass was. And we'd just get drunk and jam. It was a big jam. However, this was our big show on stage. So I'm in the bathroom, I'm kind of breathing, and next thing I know, the door flies open. My bass player comes in and starts putting water on his face, breathing heavy. I go, are you getting butterflies? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, me too. So it was really scary, but once I got up there, it was like a natural. It was just, you know, I got on there and I had, you know, longer hair at the time, and I just flipped it in a circle and rocked the whole time and look at the crowd and hear them scream. So it was really cool. It's really gratifying to play and then watch the crowd get that kind of reaction that they had so much fun. You know, so that's what entertainment is to me anyway, is to get out there and do it. And then I would look at the pictures afterwards of their faces and how much fun they're having. And I'm like, that's what it's about.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. That's why I like to take pictures at the shows, you know, not only just to get the band, but to get the people enjoying the bands. And the band members love that too, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's why we do it. You know, it's to entertain.
yeah.
You know, I think that's the main. Most of us do it.
Mm-hmm. So during this time playing in your first band and playing in other, did you play in other bands? I mean, eventually you said you guys went your separate ways.
Yeah, that broke up, and then I was in a speed metal band that was called Outrage, and that's where we were a split vocal team. So my buddy was playing guitar, and I was playing guitar, and we were both trading off on the songs, on the vocals. So so I learned to play really fast, shredding a lot, and singing at the same Dave Mustaine type thing.
Oh, okay.
So that was good for the chops. And then after that, I went into an acoustic band. I actually got into acoustic during all this, and I was in a speed metal band playing, and I would sit and just play in my apartment. And I love the way an acoustic sounds. It's just beautiful. I started learning more chords, progressions, and chords at this time. So I started writing a bunch of music. I did some recordings. I did a 3-song demo just because I wanted to, you know. Went into the studio, paid for it myself. I think the drums were me going, you know. And then my fingers were killing me after 3 minutes of this. Try it, folks. Try it. Your fucking fingers will fall off. So so that was kind of fun. So yeah, it's just, you know, there's different stages through the whole thing. You know, I went from that band into then Deadwood was the name of the band was Deadwood, which was an acoustic project. It went from me making this demo and some friends saying, I really like that. Let's put something together like that. So we were doing acoustic guitars, electric bass, kind of Days of the New type thing before Days of the New came out. And next thing you know, I got people calling me going, are you on the radio? I hear you right now. And I'm like, no. You know, and it was kind of new to do this unplugged thing. And next thing you know, I listen to the radio and there's Days of the New on there. I go, they're doing the same thing that we're doing. That's, you know. So somebody always beat me to the, you know. But anyway, yeah, it was always something different. It was always, I always dedicated to one project. So it jumped from that to Deadwood and then into a band called Crazed, which was a little more metal. At that time, rap was coming in, metal rap. So I tried to work in a little bit of rap to be in.
Did you do the rap or something?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll have to send you some stuff on that. It's
okay.
Yeah. Everybody said, you sound like Sir Mix-a-Lot. Baby got back, you know. So, it was fun stuff, and it was cool to experiment and try, but I was like, it's not really my bag, you know. My son shows me some stuff now where they're doing scream rap, which is more of a metal scream while they're rapping, and I'm like, okay, I like that. That's a little better for me, you know.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, I can't even tell you what kind of music it is. It's like weird shit going on, and then heavy guitars come in, and he's screaming, and then he starts rapping a little, and I'm like, I don't even know what it is, but it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So during this time playing in different bands and all that, I read that you were studying to be a graphic designer. You got your certification.
Yeah.
How were you able to focus on doing that and playing in bands? I bet you probably did. Were you working at the time too?
Yeah, I was working full-time job during all this. Maybe sometimes it was part-time because I was getting fired, moving on to another, work about half the year, you know. But at the time, I was working for, my cousin actually owns a company that was manufacturing auto accessories, aftermarket auto accessories. Nerf bars that go on the side of trucks, rocker panels, a little chrome strip that goes at the bottom. And he actually was the inventor of those rocker panels. So they really, I started there and I worked there on and off because I'd get fired or move to another job. But I got into actually the engineering department of the whole thing. And that was, I learned how to do AutoCAD design, design bracketing and some of the tubing, you know, all on the computer. And I would actually, you know, they'd have a plasma cutter that would cut the pieces out. So I would take whatever I drew, they would cut out. So it started there. And then I went and got certified. I was already doing graphic design, but of course, or I was doing arts, you know, painting, sketching, sculpting, all kinds of stuff. So I was introduced to the computer. I learned, all of a sudden here's Photoshop. Hey, I got this hacked software, man. It's called Photoshop. I put it in, I go, holy shit, this is cool. So I went to school for that. Went to Collins College at the time. So I learned a little bit of web design there. I learned graphic design, learned Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. just, enough to, I think, get by. And then I went and got a job at a sign shop, a buddy of mine that I met. He actually worked at the auto accessories place. Excuse me, that was good stuff. And then he moved on, started his own company. So that's where I really learned a lot. I mean, you learn a little bit in school, and then when you get thrown to the job, it's like, holy shit, Then you got customers yelling at you, and you have to produce, Yeah. So I learned a lot doing it there.
So you started off using your graphic design, pretty much making signs.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you use it a lot now to promote your music and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's
with videos and all that stuff.
Videos, flyers. I also do the web design, website design. That's what I was trying to say. Put it all together. But I build all the websites and do the graphics for all that. And, you can use it. I mean, there's all the promotional items. You basically, need a graphic designer for. And so, yeah, I do all that stuff myself. And I just, I use it for that. And I was doing my own sign company for a while, which is, I was doing car wraps and signage, on buildings and things like that. And so I kind of got out of doing that. And, whatever I can use it for, man.
Yeah. Cool.
And the films are great because I started doing the films and use all of it. Use Photoshop, Illustrator, animation program. I do like the 3D animation, like Toy Story stuff, like the 3D models. And so I add that stuff into the films. There's just quite a bit to...
And we'll get more into the film, but yeah, I've seen the 3D graphics, and I look at that and it's like this way over my head. So
it's crazy.
It's very talented to be able to do that.
It took a long time to learn it, believe you me. Like you said, it's over your head. It was the same. I was looking at it going, and I had books at the time. I was trying to learn out of books when I started it in 2000. That was 20 years ago. But I started looking through books, and I was tearing my hair out. Going, what am I doing? This is so hard to do. But yeah, once I learned it, I mean, it's tough stuff. Cool.
How did your modeling career take off? Was that during this time too, or was this a little bit later down the road?
That was something that I did when I got a couple of modeling jobs when I was 20, I want to say 23, 24. I don't know. I don't even remember how I got into it, but it was a couple jobs to, hey, show up, take some pictures. And there was a calendar at the time. So, I was picked for that. So I just had to do some shirtless stuff and implied nudes, where I was wearing shorts, but, reading a newspaper to where it was cut off and you kind of imply it, So I did a few jobs like that. So it wasn't really, I made some money doing it and it wasn't bad. And I really didn't get into it more. I was kind of like, I don't know if that's my thing, I can get in front of the camera and do it, and I'm good at it, but when I started getting on the stage, I remember we had a guy that was kind of help managing us. He goes, you got to take your shirt off when you get up there. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I could do that. I'm not, I don't think so. So I'd open it a little bit, and I was still kind of shy about it. But then I started doing it more and more to get used to it. And really, it becomes natural in rock and roll. You see those guys, you get, they get out there and you're sweating your ass off. It's like just rip the shirt off and go. And it gets too hot to wear all that clothing. I basically started doing many years later, which was not too long ago. When did I start doing that? I don't know, 10 years ago or something. It's weird. It's all like in decades, each decade is different. But about 10 years ago, I decided, I was doing the 80s type band. I was taking the shirt off and all that stuff. And then I started getting messages on Facebook, and that's Facebook started rolling and getting popular, of ladies saying you should do a calendar, you should do you need to take your shirt off more, do some modeling. So I go, okay. So I did a couple modeling pictures, and I used to throw it up because I was trying to think outside of the box, because I was basically doing what everybody else was doing. All of the musicians were doing the same thing. We're recording a CD. Here's a music video. Play some shows. I'm going, what can I do that's outside of the box? Well, I started putting out pictures for like Hump Day. So I'd put Hump Day pictures on Wednesday. And I started making salsa that I was like, hey, buy my salsa. And I was selling jars of salsa. I would bring chips and salsa to the show. And so here I have all this shit, trying to sell whatever I could just to be different. And it worked. I mean, a lot of people were showing up to buy this damn salsa. And then it got too big. I was like, I don't want to make all this shit. Because I had like orders of salsa. I was shipping them out all across the U.S. and I was bringing them to shows. And it was almost full-time salsa, and I'm going, I don't want to do that. I want to be a salsa maker. But so anyway, the Hump Day pictures got, it was just basically trying to think outside the box and throw something out there different, which got my name out there, got me some popularity, and then you should make a calendar. And I said, all right, so I'll try it. So I just did some modeling sessions and slapped the calendar together and put it out. And then I sold out on my first batch. I didn't want to get a bunch of them and have them laying around. So I got kind of a small run, and then they sold out, and I was shipping them out, and I got 2 more runs after that. So I go, okay, this is kind of cool. I made a little money and whatever. So so I just started doing those every year. And then I was getting messages like, when's the pre-order for the calendars? And I'm like, it was working. I go, okay, cool, I think with the rock and roll, because I'm not the most built cut guy in the world, you got Aquaman out there, come on. I'm no Aquaman, but I think that with the rock and roll and the whole, theme of that just helped with it, with the all around stuff. So anyway, he had to get over the shyness to do that, and get out and do it. So that's how it came about. It just kind of happened. It was one of those things. Happened. Yeah, it just happened. So I don't call myself like a model, but that's what I'm called because I do the modeling. But it was basically just to get something out there different.
So as I'm talking to you and listening to you, though, you have a mind of self-promoting yourself, business mind.
Yeah.
That learning, that thinking process is, something different, something that a lot of people don't have,
Yeah, well, I always, I'll be honest, it was wanting to succeed, wanting my job to be music because I love it so much, to be able to get out there and do it is one thing, and then to be able to actually make a living at it is another. And so that's why I got the business mind. I started learning about how to do that. How am I going to do that? But it's not always a for sure thing. To be able to do that, I found myself in order to pay the bills, I had to have more bands and then play all the time because, it's a difficult business to get into. So it's funny, my latest release is, I was hesitant. I'm just like, I don't want to do all that again. I don't want to do music videos. I want to do, it's exciting to get into it and do it, but I'm tired of doing all that because I think it's, you want to get the fame and the fortune and that's the goal, get popular and sell a shit ton of albums and get out of a limousine and go collect your award or what, that's the whole dream, which is cool as hell. But, at my age, I'm kind of like just, lucky that I can get in there and sing a note, because a lot of people lose their voices after that. So I think the fame thing is, it wasn't really a goal, but I understood that, I guess it wasn't something that I really wanted or needed, but it was something that had to be done. You have to be known to be able to sell albums. You have to promote yourself, and people have to be aware of you. So it's part of the gig. And anymore, I'm just like, it doesn't matter to me. I'm really comfortable where I am. Got a nice house, great family. I'm happy, and I'm able to actually record all my own music in my own studio. And so I made the album, the new album is the release I just basically made for myself and to release it to people to enjoy, it's not about making money. It's not about getting famous, for me.
Well, even so, fame and fortune was different back in the 80s and 90s. We didn't have the internet and all this other competition in music.
Yeah.
Going around. You got independent artists releasing their own stuff, So it's harder now.
Yeah.
I imagine.
But I watched all the behind the musics, all the documentaries. Watch them, folks. Watch them. And it's like a episode of fucking Bar Rescue or something, where John Taffer comes in, it's a fucking mess, and then they all turn it around and then everything's successful at the end, but it all becomes a shit show in the middle. So all these documentaries, almost every band, if you think about it, they all went through a breakup or the singer left and went on his own. And then, at the end of the documentary, they've sold over 40 million albums and they all come back together and go for a tour. But it doesn't it's not as easy as the dream, in your head. Back in the day on CMTV and these guys up there and all the people are screaming in the lights and they're on stage. And that's the best part. One of the best parts of doing that is being on stage. And the rest of the day, you're sitting in a hotel room or, so traveling on the road.
You kind of answered this a little bit. So what's your definition of success now? Have you succeeded?
Yeah, I think so. I think the overall thing is, what do you want to succeed at? Do I want to succeed at films? Do I want to succeed at music? I just want to succeed in life and be happy and content and do what I love to do. And that's where I'm at right now. I mean, I'm able to make a film if I want to. I can make and I have this long list of stuff that I want to do next year. So I guess that's all it is. I mean, I guess if success to me is being happy, waking up every day and going, I'm pretty happy where I'm at, then I'm good with that,
The article I was reading said you took a break from music for a while, pursuing other art interests. Talk about that. What kind of art interests were you seeking?
Well, I actually took a break from playing out in bands as far as the music biz or the music scene. Mm-hmm. But I always have my guitars in there, and I never stopped playing. And I always said that when I made the announcement, I'm just going to chill for a while. I was 9 bands, touring. We'd go on tours for a couple of weeks, tribute bands. Didn't get a chance to write original stuff. Like I started out, it was all originals, Those first bands that I told you about, they were all original. And that's what I do. I'm a songwriter. I'm a composer. So when I found myself going, I'm not really making money on the original stuff, even though it's what I love to do, a lot of musicians, you gravitate to doing covers, to doing tribute bands, to doing whatever makes money. So here I am doing that, and I was mildly successful doing that. I was making money, paying the bills. And but I just got burned out. I was playing all the time. I could never even go out and see like a buddy's band because I was playing every Friday, Saturday. And then I'd jump in the van or whatever, or get on a plane and we'd go tour for a little while and then come back. So I was just burned out on the whole thing, and I just want to do something different. And not only that, the films, it was the type of art that I hadn't really gotten serious. Like I told you, in 2000, I started doing animation. I started doing, building 3D models. I've always been an actor, and I just wanted to act. And so I studied filmmaking now it was 15 years at the time or so, in every aspect of it. I just didn't feel ready to make a film unless I understood all of it, because I didn't want to get stuck. And now, oh, shit, what do I do with my sound? Or, oh, I can't, I saw directors couldn't finish their films because they couldn't get the film off their camera. Or they don't know what is this little card where do I put it? And I was like, I just don't want to be one of those guys. I want to make sure I can finish what I start. And it's got to be quality. So that's kind of what I got out of it to actually to do that. That was a goal. It's kind of a bucket list thing. I have all this shit on my bucket list, and that was one of them, make a film. So some friends of mine hired me as an actor in their film, Good Stew Productions. And I did a little part, and I saw their production going on, and I went, I gotta do this. So they helped me, actually, and I asked them you want to join forces and let's make a movie? So Claus was my first film that I did. It's done 4 years ago now, something like that, 4 or 5, whatever it was.
Special night, bum, bum.
Well, hey, are the kiddos in bed?
Yeah. No, they went down about an hour ago.
Okay, well, why don't you take a break?
Yeah, sure.
Bum, bum. I watch them.
There he is.
What's up, some bitch? Jeez, that hammered already?
Hey, it's me.
Are you okay? Wow.
Thought what, motherfucker? Thought you want to get your ass kicked, huh? Interrupting me.
So that was the break. I kind of got out of the music business, playing all the time to do that. And then once I did that, I did a couple film challenges for, the Phoenix Film Festival people. They do some film challenge, 24-hour, 48-hour film challenge where you got to meet, write a film, kind of pre-written anyway. But you get together and you got to film and get it edited and turned in 48 hours. Oh cool. My God, what a pain in the ass. Yeah, it's tough. Cool. Yeah, I was editing all the way down to the wire and trying to upload my film. God, you're disqualified if you don't get it in. So anyway, that's, I think, the one I showed you. One of those was for the challenge. And
you seem to have an intelligent mind and seem to enjoy different forms of art. What do you think of print art?
Did you say intelligent mind?
Yeah.
I fooled him.
You got to. To be able to do all the stuff you do, it takes a lot of knowledge.
I guess, yeah. I appreciate that. That's good I'm coming across that way. No, I do a lot of studying and my mind's always going. There's certain aspects of things, that are hard for me to, I didn't get good grades in school, government and English, even English, like some of those sentences, and math, I had to kind of push my mind over to that. But art and colors, music, I hear it in my head all the time. It's just going all the time. So that's my forte, and that's what goes on in my brain. So print art, you mean
like Picasso or Monet or
I think I see art in everything. Being a 3D I do 3D modeling. I look at all these things that I can build in the computer. So I look, here's a cylinder here. This is a cord. This would be, and I figure out everything's shapes. There's different sheens to it. There's different scratches on it that I can see when the light hits it right. So that's where my mind is. It's so all of that stuff, all those guys that you mentioned, Da Vinci all the way. They all have their own feel. So if it's abstract art, there's so many different kinds of art. It's all really cool in its own. I see it for what it is. When I look at it, I get it. And so to me, I love all of it, man. I look at every, the wife and I will go get frozen yogurt down the road, and they always put up pictures on the walls from local artists, and I just love looking at their work. They'll use a pine cone and cut it out and make a sunflower out of it and put it on the canvas and stick it to it. And so I always admire all the artwork that they put up there. And yeah.
So what motivates Tony Noyes? What drives you?
Well, my 2005 Nissan truck drives me there usually, but wherever I gotta go. I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you that. To do what I do, I have a passion for it. Yeah, I love doing it. I just want to see what I can create. I think anybody who creates art or paints a picture, you start out with this blank canvas, and you mix colors and you use different brushes and you try to do this. And I would guarantee most of us don't have on the canvas what we originally saw when we started. And that is what is so cool about art. Because you get in there, I've drawn pictures where I sketched it, and I see it in my head, I start sketching it, and then, this angle's a little off. So you start, adjusting the picture, and it becomes something else. And the same thing with a painting, same thing with a movie. I see it in my head in the beginning when I write it. I see the shots that I want to do, and then at the end, it's very close to what I saw. But there's so many little things that are different, and
so the end result, pretty much. You like that end result.
I think the end result, of seeing what happened. What did I create? Yeah, and then it's nice to actually share it with people, and if they enjoy it, that's a benefit from the whole thing. When they look at it and go, "Wow, that's cool. I like that movie." The Undead in the West film that I did, I had so many people that loved it, and they said, "Now I'm hooked. What happens? We got, so now I got to do some kind of series or something on it." And I don't know how I'm going to do that. I have no idea yet, but all I know is I have to do it. So I'll be working on that in the next year.
Yes. So eventually you came back to music. You've never stopped playing, but you got back into music. How did that come about?
I just took a break.
Okay, you took a break.
Yeah, just take a break from playing out, from doing all that. Kind of reboot.
Did someone come and ask you to be in a band?
Well, I'm really not doing anything right now. So, I'm jamming with a couple of people, and an opportunity, has come my way that I was asked about. Hey, do you know any bands that we want to book some bands? So there's a couple things that are popping up, but no, the break is nice because playing out all the time and doing the stage thing, it is work, no matter what, even though I enjoy it. But I knew at some point I'll get back into it, but I have to really want to do it. It was a point when I was just like, I just don't want to jump on the stage right now, and I just don't feel like doing it. And I'll be honest with you, with the popularity that happened, I love it because Garth Brooks he says, "There's a blessing, then there's a curse with it. There's a blessing, there's a curse." And he looks in the camera. That's how he does it. Blessing and a curse. But so it's really cool to get known and for what you do, and you're able to pull people in the bars. However, when I get done and get off the stage, and I left my beer on the other side of the bar, and I just want to get to my beer, and I'm not one to like cut people off or be rude to them, so I talk to everybody on the way. It takes me 30 minutes to go get my beer. So that's the curse. I just want my beer, man. So yeah, you see with the people. I'm not even on these levels. I'm not on a level of any of these people that are like at the top and that kind of Michael Jackson fame, or Bruce Lee. I remember him saying, he wanted the films and all that. I just watched the documentary. He wanted the films. He wanted Hollywood. He got it, and he's like, now I'm like a monkey in a cage. I can't even go outside. They're poking the monkey. They want to see me perform. It's kind of how it is. It's crazy. So I just needed a break from that. It was something that just take a little break, relax, maybe get into writing some music. So I did. I started learning. I've been working on my voice for the last. I haven't played out, 2 years, I think, something like that. I've jumped on the stage with my friends, but I haven't really done a set with a band for a couple of years now.
I was going to say, I don't think I've seen you live once, and that was at the Tony Phelps show.
Yeah, and that was sitting in.
Yeah.
I was doing a few songs. That was the only time, huh? Yeah, that was fun. I think it is trying to get things going, getting a band together. It's a lot of work to keep a band together. Mm-hmm. Not fight, not argue, get everybody on the same page, book the shows, build a website. Oh, I got flyers that I got to do because I got a show 2 weeks away. I got to go deliver them to the venue. This is all the stuff behind the scenes that people don't see. It's almost it's more work than it's worth to get up on that stage for an hour and a half or whatever it is, and you're just like, I did all that for that, But the rush is great and it is fun, so that's why we do it, because I guess it is worth it. But it is a lot of work, so I just went, I felt like I was chasing it all the time to try to keep it together. Like, it's not working, and I'm trying to just keep it all together. And I just wanted to go, I'm at a point in my life where it's got to, just go smooth and more happen for me, instead of me trying to, force it. So I'm just chilling out right now, and I probably will put something together for the album. There's a couple opportunities that I may get out there and start playing live again.
So, like we talked about in earlier part of your career, as you were pursuing that, you were also pursuing graphic artists. And it seems, from what I understand, is now that you started back up from after taking your break, you kind of started getting into filmmaking. How did that come about? What got you into filmmaking?
Well, the filmmaking was a thought back in 2000 when I started 3D animation. And the guy that I started my first job at the sign company with, his name is Daryl Compte, and it was Steel Chariots was the name of the company. That was the first job that I had doing graphic design, and he gave me that opportunity. But we talked about getting Titan Digital we were going to do a VFX, special effects type thing, computer graphics for films, and that's kind of where I got into it and got the idea. And I was already kind of an actor my whole life. I act every day, folks. The whole world is a stage. So I wanted to act in films anyway, and I just figured, I started acting in other people's films, like I said, and I saw them getting stuck. So I really didn't, it was just a plan in the back of my head at some point I want to make a film. And when I felt like I was understood all of it, and I could make it at least a decent quality film, what I thought was, then I decided to go ahead and do it.
So you got quite a few under your belt now?
I have a feature that I'm going to do. I'm editing also. I'm editing a feature right now called The Dark Side of Opulent 3. It's a trilogy. I'm in part 2. I act in part 2. I play a character called Boyko. Where I had to work on my Russian accent. I have to talk like this through the whole film. I had to learn how to talk like that. It is a bitch. And and I am no good. I was no good at a Russian accent when I started out. I'm like, you want me to, can I speak Russian? What? And so I had to learn how to do that. But so anyway, I'm editing that film right now, and I have planned for my first feature. I have probably 5, 6 short films. Claus is a 45-minute film, so it was supposed to only be 15 minutes, and it turned out to be that long because there's just too much story to tell. So so yeah, I have a handful of them. But I have a feature, and I'm going to do my first full length probably next year, by the end of next year.
Well, you just answered my next question. What are you working on now? I know you've won some awards. What are some of the awards you've won for your movie?
I got Claus was my first one, and it needs a lot of work, but I got it done, so I'm proud of it. But of course, you look back on it, I'm like, God, I could fix that, and that's not good. I did win an award for Undead in the West. I got, God, what did I get for those? Oh, best rolling credits, because I had an animation in the end credits of that film. And I won that in the Sholo Film Festival. And then I won audience favorite, which was cool. But other than that, on that film, the one I just won is actually for a music video that I did. So I entered it, my first music video. It was House of Mirrors. And I got best music video, which is best overall. So I've been entering my stuff for about 4 years into film festivals. And that was just this October, last month. Was the first time I actually won Best Of, which is what I was looking for. So not only did I win that, it was a favorite of one of the producers of the Sholo Film Festival. So I got 2 awards on that one. I was like, okay.
I just watched that video. That was a pretty crazy video.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Cool. Yeah, it was.
And you know what? That was a great example of something that just happened. I was looking for people. I was looking for clowns, not the people I hang out with, all those clowns, but. No, I was looking for clowns and acts that could juggle and do shit like that, do something cool for the video, and I put out an ad and I was getting nothing. It was like people that, I don't know how to do anything, but I'll put on makeup and be a clown, so I was getting ready to go with them, because that's all that answered. And I had one guy actually contact me and he goes, I have a school that I teach people how to be carnies and clowns, so I have a whole bunch of people that could be interested. And I go, well, let me know. Put out the info. All of a sudden they show up and there's, all these people that showed up, they were the trapeze, where this one young lady swinging for she saw her on the little trapeze thing, and they're juggling, and I go, this is just the most awesome thing. So it just kind of just happened, Next thing you know, I just said, roll camera, and let's do it, man. And everybody's doing, I go, just do your own thing in the background. But like you said, it was crazy. There was all this shit happening. You have to watch it. I love watching it and watching, a different person each time through the whole thing and see what they're doing. So I was happy that it turned out so good, and very pleased to get an award, It's good to get recognition. They love me. They really love me.
Shared it with me. Is there something that, do you want to do more that touches people's heart, touches their emotions?
What's happening? You mean like a love, like a Sleepless in Seattle?
Something like that, or just, something that, like that one you showed me. That was, that was a shocker, something that made you think,
Think about life.
Yeah, think about life.
So then the answer to that question would be yes.
Good.
And there are more. There might be a romantic comedy in there.
Okay, let's get into your new album, Good versus Evil.
Yes.
So my first impression when I heard it, The Girl Like You, that was like the party song, the great girlfriend song, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Then the slow one,
Life of a Star?
Yeah.
Awesome. You like that one? Cool.
Awesome. I listened to it about 5 times today.
So, cool. Right on. So you got one. All right. I love asking that question because everybody's different. Some people like that one. That one always seems to stick out. And that was something I'm really proud of.
I mean, there were so many. It's like I'd hear one and get stuck on it. I'm like, okay, this is my favorite song. And I hear something else. And it's like, wow.
Oh, cool.
So,
and that's, I mean, that's great to hear because I kind of geared that album towards, I didn't want there to be a shitty song on there at all. I'm sure we all think that while we're writing it. So I wanted it to be able to listen. I mean, I listened to Appetite for Destruction, not a bad song on that album at all. It's just front to back. Shout at the Devil for me, the same. That's kind of where I wanted to go, where just everyone rocked, So it was pretty interesting because I think Chris Cotero has produced it, and he, I hit him up to do an album. I wanted to do a solo album, and because I never have, I've always started. Like I said, I did that 3-song demo long ago, and then my friend said, "Oh, it's cool, man. We should, let's go play that stuff live." And then we start working together. Next, let's call it a band thing. It was never just Tony Noyes, and I was never comfortable just doing that. I just felt like big-headed for whatever reason. I go, all right, let's make it a band. And then it becomes a band and a democracy, and then we go in a direction that I didn't want to go. And I never just put my foot down and said, this is what I'm doing. Well, this album, it was one where I wanted to write everything, but I had Chris's input, which was great, because I kind of went in there with some clips of some songs. Here's some acoustic, this is some shit that I did here. Here's a little song here and this and that. He kind of gravitated towards the heavy stuff. I really wanted to do an acoustic album because that's what I really love doing. I mean, it's just that's some feeling music, But he seemed to be, he's an Iron Maiden freak. He loves the heavy stuff. He goes, oh, this is cool and that's cool. And I go, all right, so we're doing a heavy album, So it was really an eye-opener for me, which is, at my age, going in there and having somebody, he goes, basically, I brought the first song and we started working on the first song, and he said, well, try to think of, he threw some stuff at me, think about doing this and doing that. And it kind of cracked open this creative process in me for music, where all the music notes are floating around in the air and I'm going, wait, I can put this one with that, and I'm doing it all wrong. I got to rewrite everything. So I started from scratch. I went back and I got to rewrite all the songs because this sucks. All this shit I brought in, no, it's no good. So I went back and started, and I was writing a song a week for the album. And sometimes I didn't even have something ready, and I would have to sit down and have it ready for the next session that we went in. I was going every Thursday or whatever it was. So it was a great creative process. It just opened up a lot of possibilities for me that in my head, and I think it turned out really good. I think I veered way off of your original question, but
no, that's perfect. So you released that when again?
That was in May.
May. So it was after the pandemic kind of started.
Yeah, it just started.
And what were your plans? Were you planning on going out and trying to tour with this, or do some local shows at least? And
no, it was just, this was
more for you.
Yeah, this was one that, it was funny because they all thought it was strange. Even Chris was like, well, you should really try to promote this. And I go, I just want to do a solo album. That's just something that I wrote, put it out, mostly for me is the reason I did it. It's not to get a record deal. It's not to get any, all this stuff. So that was the goal. So when I finished it and completed it, I did plan on, I go, well, maybe I'll, get a band together and we'll go out and play it at some point. But all the bullshit was going down with the COVID and the lockdowns. And at that point it was, I said, should I release it? I saw everybody who was coming out with books, coming out with albums, books mainly. There was people that had books scheduled to come out in May or around that time when the pandemic started, and they go, we're going to hold off and we're going to come out with the book 6 months down the line to see where we're at because of money. Nobody had money. Nobody was going to buy their product. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go, well, we'll wait till everybody gets working again and then we'll get your money out of you. Basically, I go, this is a hard time for everybody. Everybody's locked up in the fucking house, bouncing off the walls. Maybe a little bit of music. Maybe they'll enjoy what I made. And let me release it. And if you want to purchase it, cool. I put videos on YouTube you can go listen to for free and check out the album if you like it, or just, maybe it'll help somebody out who's having a hard time. I don't know. But I didn't want to do that thing of waiting until things get better or whatever they're waiting for. So I just went ahead and released it, and I figure, I got 5,000 friends on Facebook that you max out at. I probably only have, I'm lucky if I get 1,000 that pay attention to what I'm doing. And So if it touches those people, that's cool. I can always release it on I mean, I don't know if it'll ever go bigger than that. But I plan on doing more music videos now and doing a big push with it. And I have interest from other musicians that are like, you ever going to play that shit out, you know? So I probably will.
How's the response been?
It's been good. I mean, like, hey, you said you like it, so that's... I haven't had anybody say that it sucks ass. And they probably, if they thought that, they wouldn't tell me. So I don't know. So far it's been good.
So you have done a video for Wings of Gossamer.
Yes, sir.
Did I say that correctly? Gossamer?
Yeah. Wings of Gossamer.
I looked up the word Gossamer. I'm just going to keep it to myself. Tell me what this song is about.
What'd you get? The Looney Tunes character?
No, it was more like something really light, and, you know, like
Frivolous.
Yeah, and like I think there's a butterfly or something that even mentions one of the smallest butterflies.
Right.
You know, and it talks about the wings of the butterfly.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to say that, but I wanted to hear what.
No, it's great. I mean, that is what it's about. It's something very fragile or breakable. It says something such as the wings of a butterfly that are very, you know, it carries flight, but they could be damaged very easily. And so the Wings of Gossamer is a song about, it's like a train wreck, but it's about a plane crash is the metaphor. But really, you know, you kind of get in this plane and you're trusting the guy at the helm, you know, in the cockpit to carry you from one point A to point B. And so the wings are frail and fragile, and it could go down at any minute. So basically, it's when you kind of trust somebody to carry you or, you know, to help you with something, but they're not really in it for you. And the whole thing comes crashing down. I mean, I've done that many a times being in music or in films. Like I said, I go, I'm going to make you a star, or we're going to make a movie. And I go and put all my time into it, and then they don't release the movie. I never see the footage. And it just kind of comes crashing down. And I think a lot of things in life you can relate that to, where you trust somebody and they don't come through. Or, you know, so that's kind of what this whole song's about, if you really want to get in depth. Usually I just say it's about a plane crash, okay?
Well, I heard the
Metaphor?
Yeah, the metaphor in it. And that's what made me want to look up the word Gossamer.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of that word before. And so, yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
They said, through the stratosphere, upon frivolous fear, in vain my tears are shed. Unwanted turbulence, unavoidable, the gulls in the hall, descent. Believed in you, the impact overdue. I'll never trust you again.
Where can people find your website?
It's just my name.com. So Tony Noyes, TonyNoyes.com. And you can go there. YouTube, just punch in my name. There's all kinds of shit on there from videos and past stuff that I've done. But go to my website, and then the album Good vs. Evil is available everywhere on platforms, on Apple Music or Amazon or whatever. So you just get in there and do a search on that. Find it under Noise. Just the album on the heavy side. I'm going to do the acoustic album as Tony Noyes, and this one was released under just the last name. So Noise, Good vs. Evil. Search for it.
Anything you'd like to say to your fans, or any inspirational
Search
thoughts?
for it, yes. Buy it. No, I'm just kidding.
Any inspirational thoughts you want to give someone out there that may be starting and thinking about doing music and getting into any of the type of arts that you're into?
Music, run the other way, guys. Just turn around and run. No, I'm just kidding. I want to say to the fans, I just appreciate everybody who supports what I do or purchases an album. The business, unfortunately, is a business, and it's about money. And to be able to keep doing it, you have to. That's what you do. You sell albums, you make some money, and you put it back in there, and like any business. But anybody who supports me and has bought shirts or CDs, I thank you so much. Or even just listening to it and any kind of support at all, I really appreciate that. It makes it worthwhile. And coming to the shows, having a good time. I wouldn't be. I'd be up there playing to the wall, if nobody showed up. So I just appreciate everybody for doing that. And if you're looking to get into arts, if you're artistic, whether it's film or whatever you want to do, I just say go for it. Why not? Get into it and do it. I got to say, doing it for the right reasons is very important. Some people do it for the money. Some people do it for the fame. Some people do it for, I think being just creative and doing it for yourself and seeing what you can create is most gratifying for me. I can't say that for everybody how they think, but get in and create something that you want to create and do it for you. Because I think with music, they're like, and I say this because I've done it. I did it when the rap thing was in. Remember, I told you there's rap, and I start rapping on the album a little bit because that's kind of what's in, but it wasn't for me. Probably a waste of my time, to actually try to do what's in. So be creative and do what's good for you, what you love to do, and put it out there. And if people like it, on top of that, that's the bonus. That's a plus. But by all means, get in and just do it. If you're worried about making a film and you don't know what to do, you just get in and do it, and you'll learn as you go. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from them and do better. Like I can't wait to do my next film and just do better all the way around. So.
Well, Tony, I thank you very much. I enjoyed this interview.
Thank you.
It's great learning more about you and learning what drives you, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Not just your truck.
I was going to say, not the vehicle. Bad joke. No, I appreciate you doing that. I think, what's funny is the ways of social media. People judge people by what they see. And I've worn the crazy costumes. And, it was a good and a bad thing. Blessing and a curse. But it was, a lot of people judge me off of, who is this fucking guy? What is he wearing? What is this nutty shit? And, so it hurt me in a lot of ways. And some people even got to know me a little bit. I try to get to know people, and they know it's a costume. I'm doing a gig. I'm doing a show. It's like I'm dressing like Vince Neil. I'm dressing like Paul Stanley. I'm dressing like this crazy 80s guy. I think they think it was serious, like that was really me, which I am a little nutty. I'm a little crazy. I'll admit it. But, it was bad. There were some people that I got some hate for it, and it was just kind of like, take the time to get to know somebody. You don't judge a book by its cover. Exactly. I never do. I get the gig. So I guess when I saw somebody, I go, what the fuck is that guy wearing? There's a couple bands around where the lead singer paints himself white with this big mohawk, and I'm like, I love it. I'm like, that is cool. He's coming up with something artistic, and a lot of people don't understand that. So get to know the person. Go up and talk to them. And I'm glad you took the time to come out and get to know me a little bit.
Well, on behalf of Penny Freeman and Artists in the Spotlight, we thank you, and look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Artists in the Spotlight. Take care.